Hello student, welcome to Pawan Wagh Academy. Myself Dhanvantari Deshmukh. Today we are starting with our new lesson. Yesterday we have discussed about what is the syllabus, what type of chapters we are going to study in 12th biology. Now today we are going to start with second chapter. Yesterday only I told you that I'm completing zoology portion first, and after that I'm going to complete botany portion. So now from the first unit, that is reproduction, it contains reproduction in lower and higher plants as well as animals. So as we are completing zoology part first, so we are starting with reproduction in lower and higher animals. Now reproduction. What is re and production? That means production of new organism from the mother or the father, okay, or in combination of mother and father. What they are doing, they are reproducing, or they are undergoing the process of reproduction for formation of new organism. Now reproduction, what we are saying it as a biological process. How biological process? Because it is forming it is taking place for formation of new organism. But how new organisms are forming? They are forming by or with the help of pre-existing organisms only. That's why we are saying this word reproduction. That means pre-existing organisms are there only, and with the help of them they are again able to form a new organism. That's why we are saying this process as a reproduction. We are not saying only production. They are doing it reproduction, and this process is going on. It is a cyclical process. It is going on again and again from generation to generation. Okay. Now, what is the use of reproduction? Why reproduction is necessary for each and every organism? First of all, reproduction is necessary to avoid extinction from this Mother Earth. If they are reproducing again and again, their population will remain for millions of years on this earth. And if they are not undergoing this process of reproduction, what will happen? They will undergo the process of extinction. They will vanish from this Mother Earth. And it is not a character of living thing. All the living things are here on the Mother Earth not to get extinct, but they are always struggling for their existence. And that this reproduction is one of the part of struggle for existence only. Okay. Indirectly, it is a part of struggle for existence only. Because this reproduction, now how it is helping? They are helping each and every species to live for the longer period. And if the species is living for longer period, that means they are showing their existence on this Mother Earth for the longer period. They are not going to extinct. And if they are existing on this Mother Earth for longer time, again what is happening with them? They are undergoing evolution. They are undergoing the process of evolution, and they are modifying themselves, or they are modifying different habitats, or different habits inside them, so that they will be able to live in different environmental conditions. And this thing is done by the process of reproduction only. Because of this only, all the species are able to live for the longer period on the earth. Got it? Now, again, this reproduction, we have seen here how it is taking place, by which organism, or how, with the help of whom it is taking place, what is the function of reproduction. Now comes its methods. How the process of reproduction is going on or taking place. Now, just now we said that reproduction means what? Organisms are producing again and again. Okay? But there are two methods. First one is asexual reproduction and second one is sexual reproduction. Now this asexual, means this asexual means without sexual organs or sexual functions. It is reproducing without using sexual organs or sexual functions. And here we are calling it as a asexual reproduction. Now how it is taking place? Now asexual reproduction. Just now I said it is taking place without the sexual organs or sexual functions or physiological organs, whatever we can say. Okay. Now, in which organisms that asexual reproduction is taking place? Now, this asexual reproduction, it is a primitive method. Now, why it is a primitive method? Because when a life exists on the Mother Earth, that time what happened? There was not a organism which is reproducing with the help of sexual reproduction. But what they are doing? They are reproducing with the help of asexual reproduction. We know that the first organism on this earth was unicellular and they do not have well modified body organs, and that's why they are not able to reproduce directly sexually, and that's why they are reproducing. They are not able to reproduce sexually, but if they are present, if they are existing on this earth, Mother Earth, they have to exist here for the longer period, and for that purpose they have to undergo the process of reproduction. Now how they are going to reproduce themselves? That's why they are using the process of asexual reproduction. Okay. Now that's why it is common in primitive organisms. And secondly, what happens here? In asexual method, reproduction is occurring with the process of meiosis. Okay. This meiosis, the process of meiosis is not taking place inside the lower organisms. This process of asexual reproduction is occurring in the lower organisms, in the invertebrates, some of the invertebrates, and they do not undergo the process of meiosis, as they are some of them are unicellular, maybe some of them are multicellular, but what happened? They do not have well developed body organs, as well as they do not have the ability to form the gamete. They are not able for the formation of gamete, and that's why they are not able to undergo the process of meiosis, and that's why they are not able to fertilize, and that's why they are not able to undergo sexual reproduction. That's why what they are preferring? They are preferring asexual reproduction, where the sexual organs or gametes or the process of meiosis is not required. Got it? All these things are not required. That's why they are preferring asexual reproduction. Now, again, we all know that primitive organisms, again they are unicellular, and again in them it is not identified that male or female are different or not, all these things. But here, because of that, they are reproducing with the help of asexual reproduction. And for this asexual reproduction, single parent is involved, not two parents, that is male and female, are not required to undergo the process of reproduction. In which method? In asexual method. Here only single parent is involved, and what they are doing? They are giving birth to their identical offspring, or in the vice versa, we can also say their offsprings are identical to the parents, or we can say they are the clones of their parents. Clones means they are same to same as their parents. But in sexual reproduction, we have seen that in sexual reproduction, the offsprings are not clone of their parents. They are not same to same as their parents. But here we can say that in asexual reproduction, these offsprings, they are totally identical to their parents. And that's why we are using this word clone. Clone means they are totally identical to their parents. And this thing is not happening in sexual reproduction. Now, which are the examples or how the asexual reproduction is taking place? It is taking place with the help of these two methods. First one is gemule formation and second one is budding. Now, where this gemule is formed? See here. What are these? Are the sponges, or we can say it as a spongilla. It is a spongilla and it belongs to phylum Porifera. In 11th biology, you have studied different phylums, and in that phylum, you have studied phylum Porifera. Porifera means what? The phylum or the organisms from this phylum are pore-bearing, Porifera. See here, Porifera means they are with pores. Their body is with pores. All their body, here again their body is porous, just like as this. Here pores are present. These are the pores. All over their body pores are present. Now why these pores are present? These pores are present just for completing their different body activities, and this we are calling it as a sponges also. Why I am showing this diagram to you? So that you will be not confused where the gemule formation is taking place. Again, we will revise this. How? Where we have completed reproduction. Again, in reproduction, there are two methods. First one was asexual method and second one was sexual method. In asexual method, what we have seen here, the clones are not formed. No. Here the clones are formed, but how are they? They are same as their parents. And that asexual reproduction, it is occurring by two methods. First one was gemule formation and second one was budding. But where this formation of gemule is taking place, or in which organisms this gemule formation is taking place, and or we can say in which organisms the asexual reproduction is occurring by the gemule formation. And this is the example, that is spongilla. What is this? This is the spongilla, and this spongilla it belongs to phylum Porifera. To what it belongs? It belongs to phylum Porifera. And in this spongilla, the process of asexual reproduction is occurring by formation of gemules. Okay. Now, gemule formation. Just now I told you where that in which organisms this process is going on. or which organisms are reproducing asexually by gemule formation, that is spongilla. Now we will focus on how these gemules are forming and what are these gemules. Now what are these gemules? We are calling them as a internal bud. Okay. See, now we have seen asexual reproduction by gemule formation and budding. But this method, internal bud, it is different from budding. How? Gemule is the internal bud, and where it is present? Just now I told you, in sponges. But why these organisms have a need for formation of these gemules? When they are forming these gemules, they are forming these gemules during unfavorable conditions. Now, which are the unfavorable conditions when they are going to form these gemules? They are forming the gemules in the conditions where they are able to resist dehydration, they are able to resist freezing, and even they are able to resist, or they are able to survive in absence of oxygen also. All these are the unfavorable conditions. And what happens? The mother spongilla. Why I am saying mother spongilla? Because gemule formation is occurring in spongilla. And they are organisms. They are marine organisms from porifera. And what they are doing? They are forming these gemules in the unfavorable conditions. Just now I told you which are that unfavorable conditions. Dehydration, they are able to they are able to resist in the condition where we are calling it as a dehydration. Again, they can resist freezing, and they are able to survive when oxygen is absent also. And if all these are the unfavorable conditions, the mother spongilla will not remain alive. At that time, what they are doing, they are just producing these gemules, and these gemules are there only in the water, and what happens? The mother spongilla will die. But these gemules, they have given their gemules, or they have kept their gemules alive in that marine condition and in that unfavorable condition. Means adult can die in that unfavorable condition, but the gemules are able to alive in that unfavorable conditions also. That means what is happening here? Do you got to know? Again, we have seen why the reproduction is in need. What we said at that time? We said that reproduction is required by that organism just to exist on this mother earth. That thing is happening here. How? Here, parents are not able to survive in unfavorable conditions. They are dying, but they are giving their gemules. They are keeping their gemules in that unfavorable conditions, and that gemules are able to live in that unfavorable conditions, and these gemules are able to reproduce one new organism, one new spongilla after the death of mother spongilla. That's why we are saying that they are able to face unfavorable conditions also. Or this spongilla is able to grow by asexual method also. But why they are preferring this method? Because they are preferring this method at the time of unfavorable conditions, when they are not able to live. But what is their role? They have to keep their population alive for millions of years, or after their death, their existence must be there, their presence must be there in the form of gemules. And these gemules, they are able to give birth to one new whole organism, that is spongilla. Now, this gemule is how it is produced. It is a asexually produced mass or aggregation of dormant archocytes cells. Now, what are these archocyte cells? Now, see here. This middle part, it is a archocyte cells. This part, what this part contains? It contains archocyte cells, and these are the reproductive cells. We can say them as a reproductive cells. And these archocytes, they are totipotent cell. Now, what is mean by totipotent cells? Can anyone tell me? Just tell me it in a comment box. Now, archocytes, they are totipotent. Means what? They are able to divide again and again. Many times. They are able to divide multiple times. That's why we are saying them as a totipotent cells. And these archocytes are totipotent cells. And they are located in the central portion of this gemule. Again, and these archocytes, they are covered by a membrane, and we are calling it as a inner membrane. They are covered by a membrane, and that membrane is of amoebocyte cells. And they are forming a inner membrane. And after that, what is present? Outer membrane is present, and on this outer membrane, what is present? Monoaxon spicules are present. They are siliceous spicules. And what are the spicules? These spicules are pointed, hard and pointed structures. Now, what will be the function of the spicules in these gemules? See now, in the inner part, there are reproductive cells. These are archocytes. They are again covered by amoebocyte cell membrane. And again, above that, outer membrane is present, and on that outer membrane, a structure called spicules, that spicules are present. Now, what will be the function of the spicules? Just to protect these archocyte cells, as they are reproductive cell. And we all know that these gemules or these reproductive cells are protected by their enemies, or they are protected by their different accidental forces or different forces, because of which they should not get damaged, because from this gemule one whole spongilla have to take birth. That's why all these things are done by these gemules. The structure of gemule is protected by these spicules. They are hard and pointed structures. Now again the question will arise in your mind that why this structure, that is micropyle, is present here. This micropyle is present here. Just it is an opening. It is an opening through which water can enter inside this gemule. And all this structure of micropyle, it is a porous structure. And with the help of that, what happens? This gemule is able to float on the water. We all know what is the habitat of spongilla? They are exclusively marine. They are living in the marine water. And in the marine water, they have to float. It is an aquatic habitat. And in aquatic habitat, or to live in aquatic habitat, or to exist in aquatic habitat, what happens? They have this type, they are showing this type of habit. They have presence of micropyle. And with the help of this micropyle, what they are doing? Here in the micropyle, they have a porous structure, and with the help of that porous structure, they are able to float on the marine water. Got it? And as they are flowing in the marine water, when they will get a proper nutrition, they will form a total whole new spongilla. Now again, see here, just now I told you that only archeocyte cells, and these archeocyte cells, they are aggregated here and now they are able to develop in a new organism. This also I told you around archeocytes, amoebocyte cells. Okay, again amoebocyte cells, these amoebocyte cells which are present around the archeocyte cells, they are able to secrete a resistant membrane. Okay, and which is that membrane? This membrane, resistant membrane, means what? This is a protective membrane, and that membrane is the outer membrane, and on that outer membrane spicules are present. We have discussed this now only. Now, how these gemmules are going to hatch? These gemmules, they are hatching and developing into new organism or new individual when the favorable conditions come. That is, to amount of food is abundantly available there, as well as amount of water is abundantly available there, and all the things are in favor of their reproduction. At that time, they will develop in the new individual. And again, we have discussed this. The example of this is spongilla. In the spongilla, the gemmule formation is taking place. Again, once I will revise it. Again, gemmule formation. Gemmule formation means what? It is a internal bud. Okay, this is the internal bud, and here in which organism it is taking place? It is taking place in the sponges. And what is the example of sponges? Spongilla. And this spongilla belongs to phylum Porifera. And this phylum Porifera has the organisms which are pore bearing. And these organisms are able to reproduce sexually as well as asexually. But they are preferring asexual method of reproduction by formation of gemmule. Now, why they are preferring this method? Just to reproduce in unfavorable conditions also. Which are these unfavorable conditions? These unfavorable conditions are, they are able to resist in dehydration. They are able to resist freezing. They are able to survive in absence of oxygen also. Maybe any of these unfavorable conditions are there in the marine water. They are able to resist, or they are able to tolerate all these conditions, and they are helping their parent to become or develop a new individual, develop into a new individual. Okay, and here we have again discussed the structure of gemmule. This is the gemmule, and here in the central position of gemmule, what is present? The internal structure, that is of archeocyte cells. What are these archeocyte cells? They are reproductive cells. And what is their character? They are totipotent and they are aggregated here. They come together with each other and they have aggregated here. And in the central position, after their aggregation, what happens? Again, these archeocyte cells, and they are surrounded by the amoebocyte cells, and this surrounded amoebocyte cell layer, it is what it is functioning? It is functioning that it is secreting a layer of thick resistance membrane, and that membrane is protecting these archeocytes from the external environment. And on this outer membrane, what is present? Monoaxon spicules are present. See there, this structure. These are spicules. These are pointed and hard structure. And this hard structure, they are penetrating in the body of their enemies, and they are these gemmules, they are using the spicules for offense and defense mechanism. And these gemmules, when hatches, they will develop into one new individual in the favorable conditions. Now got it? What is gemmule formation? Now we have completed with gemmule formation. Now here again, that is second process. How is this second process? That is process of budding. This is the second process, that is process of budding. Now here, budding means bud, formation of bud, and with the help of this bud, the organism, one new organism is getting developed. That's why we are calling it as a budding. Now, again, in the process of gemmule formation, we said that it is a primitive method, and now budding, it is a simple method. It is a simple asexual reproduction. It is a simple method of asexual method. Why we are calling it as a simple method? Because in sexual methods or in gemmule formation, they are requiring energy. Okay, they are requiring energy, they are requiring food, they are requiring some protective membranes. But here, in the process of budding, all these things are not required. That's why we are calling it as a simple method. We are calling this method as a simple method. Why simple method? Because they do not require any energy, they do not require any protective membrane, nothing they are requiring. They are just taking birth with the help of a single bud. Now, in which animals it is seen? It is seen in Coelenterats, phylum Coelenterata. And in this Coelenterats, what are the examples? Hydra as well as corals. Okay, and again hydra and coral, they are also having aquatic habitat. They are living in the water only. Now, what happens? This budding is also seen in colonial ascidians. But here we are focusing in the budding which is forming in the hydra. Now, just now I said bud, a bud. That means what? It is a small outgrowth produced towards the basal end of body. Means what? It is a small outgrowth. Okay. See here. This is the hydra plant. And in this hydra plant, this is the small outgrowth which is producing towards the basal end. This is the basal end, and at this basal end, this is the basal end of body, and at this basal end, this is the outgrowth. This is the small outgrowth from which the bud is coming out. That means bud is a part of mother animal only. It is not detached up till it is a part of mother animal, body of mother animal, and it is coming out from the body of mother animal. And after that, what happens? This bud is going to grow, and when it will grow to some height, it will again form a tentacles. See here, tentacles. These are the tentacles. What are these? These are the tentacles. And these tentacles, again, see here, these are formed in the second step. First of all, only a outgrowth is seen here. Only a outgrowth is coming out from the mother hydra. And after that, this outgrowth or this bud which is coming as an outgrowth from the mother's body, it will develop up to a specific height, and then it will grow or it will form a tentacle, structure of tentacle. And again this bud will grow, or these tentacles will grow, and these tentacles after some time or after some days, they will get detached from the mother animal. And now this bird is able to live, or this bird is able to live without mother's support. And now they are developing in a totally new individual. This is the process of budding. Okay, and it is seen in Hydra. Now, what was the difference between gemmules and budding? In gemmules, what happens? It is occurring during unfavorable conditions, and that gemmules are able to grow in absence of mother animal also. Mother animals, they are giving out gemmules and they die. But here, that mother hydra is not able to die up to the last stage. When that bud detaches from that mother animal, that time mother hydra that mother hydra has a permission to die. But before that, that mother hydra is not permitted to die. Okay, but in gemmules, that mother spongilla can die. They are permitted to die, but after their dying also, what is present? Some part, their reproductive part, in the form of what? In the form of archaeocytes, reproductive cells, they are present. Okay, but here in the hydra, that thing is not taking place. Here, mother's body is required for the development of this bud. And after total development, that part is getting detached from the body of mother plant, and it is going to grow in a one new organism. Got it now? And it is the example of hydra. Now we have completed with asexual reproduction, and in that asexual reproduction, what we have seen? Asexual reproduction by gemmule formation and asexual reproduction by budding. Now what is this? Now, after completing asexual reproduction, we are going towards the sexual reproduction in the animals. Now, this sexual reproduction, we have seen asexual reproduction in the lower animals. That process of reproduction is done in the lower animals. Now, in the higher animals, they are reproducing by the sexual reproduction. They are reproducing sexually. Now, what they are required? What is the difference between asexual and sexual reproduction? In asexual reproduction, they do not require gametes, as well as they do not have to undergo the process of meiosis. But here, in sexual reproduction, they have to undergo the process of meiosis, as well as they have to form the gametes first, and after that they have to undergo the process of amphimixis. Now, this is the important term. Know what this term means? Amphimixis. Amphi means what? Two different things, and they are mixing with each other. We are saying amphoteric nature of water. Like that only. Amphimixis means two different things. They are going to mix with each other, and we are calling that process as a fusion of gametes. Now, what are the gametes? That gametes are male gamete. Wait a minute. Male gamete and female gamete. Now, what is the male gamete? Male gametes are sperm, and female gamete is ova, or we can say it as a egg. Okay, It is a ova or the egg. Ova or egg. Now what happens? Both the sperm and ova, they are fusing with each other, and their fusion, the fusion of this sperm and egg is equal to process of amphimixism. And what they are forming? Their formation is zygote. What they are forming? They are forming a zygote. Now here, how? See, this is the egg, that is female gamete, and this is the egg, and this is the sperm. Okay? And both this egg and sperm, when they are getting fused with each other, they are forming a zygote. But how they are fusing with each other? Now what happens? Here, I will tell you it here. This is the egg, and this egg has a nucleus, its own nucleus, and again the sperm has its own nucleus. Okay, and in this part it has its mitochondria. Okay, after that, in the second step, what happens? When the sperm touches to the outer membrane of egg, in the second step, what happens? That sperm will get entry inside the egg membrane, and that has one nucleus, and again egg has one nucleus. And now after that, in the third step, it is the first step, it is the second step, and in the third step, what happens? Now this egg has its own nucleus. We are calling it as a female pronucleus. Female pronucleus. And the nucleus which is given by the sperm, this is the nucleus of sperm. This nucleus, we are calling it as a male pronucleus. Male pronucleus. And when they come in a same cell, they will get fused. That male pronucleus and female pronucleus is getting fused here, and only one nucleus is formed here. Both this nucleus will get fused with each other, and they will form a same or only one nucleus, and this stage we are calling it as for the process of fertilization has occurred. Now at this step, the process of fertilization has occurred, and we are calling it as a zygote. This is the zygote, and here the process of fertilization has taken place now, and here only one nucleus is present, and before that there were two nuclei or two nucleus present. One is from the female gamete and one is coming from the male gamete, and after that, when the fusion of this male pronucleus and female pronucleus occurs, it will form a zygote. See here, the nucleus of sperm fuses with the egg nucleus, and at this step, what we are calling it, the formation of zygote has taken place, or the process of fertilization has occurred, or the process of fusion of gamete has occurred, and that process is known as amphimixism. Got it? And at what time, at what period or what time that process of fusion of gamete is taking place? This fusion of gamete is taking place at when the process of meiosis is going on. At that time only, the fusion of male and female gamete will take place, and that time the process of amphimixism will go on, or the process of fertilization. After fertilization, the zygote will form and the fusion of gametes will also take place. That is the process of amphimixism. Got it now? Now in the next part. Again, we have seen sexual reproduction. In that we have seen amphimixism. Now what we are going to learn about here, we are going to learn about there are different phases of reproduction. There are different phases of reproduction. There are different phases of sexual reproduction. Means what? Different phases. They are on the basis of the time or the period of life cycle of organisms. And these organisms in their life span, they are undergoing by these different phases. First phase is juvenile phase, second one is reproduction phase, and third one is senescence phase. Now first phase, that first phase is juvenile phase. In juvenile phase, what happens? Here, the organism, juvenile, what we are calling it as a juvenile, and that juvenile is an organism. Or in this phase, what happens? See what it is written here. All the organisms have to reach the certain stage of growth and maturity in their life before they can reproduce sexually. That means what is in this juvenile phase? In the juvenile phase, organisms are not able to reproduce. Just the process of growth and development is going on inside their body. Now their body is in that phase when growth and development is going on. We are calling that phase as a juvenile phase. Got it? And this juvenile phase is also known as a, in plants, it is also known as a vegetative phase. In plants, this juvenile phase is also known as a vegetative phase. And again, according to different lifespan or different characters of different organisms, this phase is variable in different organisms according to lifespan, according to time period, or according to their habits. It is different. In some organisms, it is only of some days. In some organisms, it is of some months. Or in some organisms, maybe it is of some years also. That means it is differing according to the organism. That juvenile phase is differing. But the main focus on juvenile phase is that this phase is a period in that organism's life where growth and development is going on. Here only growth and development is going on. In juvenile phase, these organisms are not able to reproduce. This is the phase before reproduction. Now second phase. Second phase is reproductive phase. This reproductive phase means what? Here, after the juvenile phase, the organism has completed all the processes of growth and development. And now, in the process of growth and development, what actual organisms has done? Organisms has incorporated all the required proteins, all the required minerals, all the required material which is a requirement of reproduction process. And all that things are taken in the body of that organism in the juvenile phase, and now that organism is ready for the reproduction phase. And now here in reproduction phase, sexual reproduction will take place. But here again, this phase is a complex phase because here the reproduction is going on, and in this phase it is complex, but it is done by a sequential manner. one by one, or it is done by step by step. It is a step by step process. And again we are saying that only it is a sequential event. And again, what are the sequences of this event of reproduction or sexual reproduction? Here the first is pre-fertilization, second is fertilization, and third is post-fertilization. See here, pre-fertilization, fertilization, and post-fertilization events. Before fertilization, again, the body of organisms have to be prepared for different things or different processes to go on. At the process of fertilization, just now we have seen in amphimixism how was the process of fertilization, and after fertilization what is going on, that is after fertilization what happens. After fertilization, just now we have seen here that before fertilization what was going on here. Here fertilization, when sperm takes entry inside the egg, the process of fertilization has taken place, and after that when the female pronucleus and male pronucleus unites, at that time the zygote is formed, and this formation of zygote, it is the process of it is the event which comes in post fertilization event. Got it? Now the third and last phase of sexual reproduction, that is senescence phase. Now the meaning of word senescence only tells that what this phase is about. Senescence means the process of aging, and at this step of organism's life, organism is not able to reproduce. See again, in the senescence phase as well as in the juvenile phase, in both these phases organism is not able to reproduce. But there is a difference. Here organism is preparing their body for the process of reproduction, and here organism is not preparing their body for the process of reproduction. Here they have completed all the processes before only, and in this phase, juvenile phase, they have to undergo that process in the next step. Okay, that is the difference between juvenile phase and senescence phase. It is the end of reproductive phase, and we can say in the other words, it is said as a old age of that organism. Got it? These are the three methods, or not methods, these are the three phases of sexual reproduction which are going on inside the organism's body. Now, next is this part we have completed, but again see here in juvenile phase we have seen that it is a growth period, growth and development is taking place here, and this juvenile, okay, again one thing was remaining here. In juvenile phase it happens after the birth and before the organism meets the reproductive maturity. This is the definition of this juvenile phase. How? It happens after the birth. As organism has taken the birth, it will be in the juvenile phase, and before it goes towards the reproductive maturity, that period after birth and before reproductive maturity, the period between after birth and reproductive maturity, it is known as a juvenile phase. And now reproductive maturity means what? Here in this reproductive maturity or reproductive phase, here sex organs undergoes maturation and they attains reproductive maturity, and now they are able to produce gametes. These organisms are able to produce gametes, and this phase is again going on with the help of hormonal changes. Here hormones are working What? Here hormones are playing a main role at the time of reproductive phase. Hormones are playing the main role here. Now we have completed with this two phases. In the first slide, we have seen this. There are three phases: juvenile phase, reproductive phase, and senescence phase. And again here we have seen juvenile and reproductive phase. And here we have focused that in the reproductive phase or maturity phase, hormones are working here. Hormones has a important role during the reproductive phase. Now again breeders. Again breeders are divided into two parts or two types. How are the breeders? Now what is meant by breeding? Breeding means process of or the time of reproduction. The time when organisms undergo the process of reproduction or they are giving birth to young ones. Now there are two types of breeders. One is seasonal breeder and second one is continuous breeder. Means what? Seasonal. The name only indicates they are seasonal breeders. Means how are they? According to the specific season, they are doing the or undergoing the process of breeding. And they are breeding in a particular season only. And what are the examples of the seasonal breeders? Goat, sheep, donkey. They are seasonal breeders. We haven't seen that they are breeding or they are breeding in a whole of their life period. They are breeding, they are able to breed only in specific seasons. That's why we are calling them as a seasonal breeders. Here again, maybe dogs and cats are also here under seasonal breeders only. Okay, they have a specific season for breeding. Now, second one is, this is the first one, and second one is continuous breeder. In any time or any time period of their life, not time period, because just now we have seen, what we have seen, there are three phases. Both of them, seasonal breeders as well as continuous breeder, both of them are able to reproduce in reproductive phase only. But they are breeding according to the time period of the year. But here the seasonal breeders, what they are doing? सीजनल ब्रीडर्स वो साल के एक स्पेसिफिक सीजन में ही ब्रीड कर सकते हैं. और जो कंटिन्यूअस ब्रीडर है उसमें क्या होता है? दे आर एबल टू ब्रीड थ्रू आउट ईयर में कभी भी वो ब्रीड कर सकते हैं. एंड दैट इज द एग्जाम्पल ऑफ ह्यूमंस एंड एप्स. ओके, नाउ बिफोर दिस वी हैव सीन द प्रोसेस ऑफ बर्डिंग. नाउ the process of regeneration. How the organisms are regenerating. Regeneration, see, just like as reproduction, again new things are producing, like that only. Regeneration means something is present there. Before only something was present there. But with the help of that present thing, new organism or new thing is going to generate. That is known as regeneration. And this process of regeneration is occurring in different organisms. Here we have seen the process of generation in Hydra and the process of generation in Planaria. Both of them are showing regeneration process. Now what is regeneration? It is a natural process. We all know that it is not an artificial process. We are not giving any hormones. We are not giving them any hormones or enzymes or any medical treatment to regenerate their organs. But it is the natural process. And it is seen in the plants as well as animals. This type of process is seen in plants as well as animals. And what actually they are doing in this process of regeneration? Here they are replacing. What they are doing? They are replacing or restoring. They are replacing or restoring the damaged or missing cell, tissue or organ or any part of their body. Okay. For example, we will take the example of, we will see these two examples also, but before that we will take the example of starfish. What starfish have? Starfish have 4 arms. How many arms starfish have? Starfish have this 4 arms. Okay. And here, if accidentally, what happens? One arm of starfish will get vanished. Okay, starfish do not have one arm, or maybe it has one arm up to this only. But by the process of regeneration, starfish is able to regenerate this whole arm again as the older arm only. This is known as the process of regeneration. And here, what this process of regeneration is doing? They are undergoing the process of regeneration of cell, tissues, organs, as well as entire body part also. First of all, cells will grow. These cells will unite and they will form a tissue, and these tissues will again unite and they will form an organ, and this organ will again unite and they will form an entire body part. This we have seen in the starfish. Now, what about this hydra and planaria? Both of them are animals only, they are organisms only. Just the difference is that the hydra can't locomote from one place to another, but this is they are the flatworms. These are the flatworms. Planaria, they comes under flatworms. Now here, how the process of regeneration is taking place. This is the adult hydra. Here, one part of hydra is detaching from the mother animal. One part is getting detached from the mother animal, and after some time period, what happens? That detached part, see here, this is the detached part, and this detached part do not have tentacles. इसमें tentacles नहीं है, but फिर भी आगे जाके ये जो part है जो detach हुआ है, that part is able to regenerate tentacles. वो tentacles वापस आएंगे इसे, and this tentacles will grow properly, and after that this is the mother plant or mother animal, and it is again forming one new organism, and from that mother plant, the detached part, it is undergoing development of tentacles, and after some days it will form a adult hydra. Adult hydra. It is going to form a adult hydra. Same thing is going on in planaria also. What happens here? See, here only one part was detached, but here this planaria, it is cut into 3 parts: head, trunk and tail. This is the trunk and this is the head region. This is the head part, this is the trunk part, and this is the tail part. And now from all these 3 parts, new whole planaria is able to grow. From the head region, the planaria will undergo the process of regeneration and they will develop the part of trunk and tail. And the part of trunk region, again this trunk region, with the help of regeneration process, they will form the part of head as well as the part of tail. And the third and last part, that is tail region. From this tail region part, again this planaria is able to form head and trunk region. That means from any part of body, that planaria is able to regenerate whole parts of body, and they are becoming a one whole full organism, and they are able to live as their mother animal was able to. They do not have any difficulties while growing or not while living. They are growing as their adult mother animal only. That's why they do not have any difficulties while living. And all these things they are doing with the help of regeneration. Now again the question will arise, are budding and regeneration same? You can say that budding and regeneration are same or not. So now what happens in the regeneration? What you have seen? In the regeneration, what you have seen? In the regeneration, you have seen that organism, it is regenerating new part, not new part, it is generating a detached part, or it is regenerating a damaged or missing part again. But in the process of budding, what happens? They are not generating missing or damaged part, but they are directly growing from the part of mother animal, body of mother animal. That is the difference between regeneration and budding. There are different differences. There are many differences in regeneration and budding. But regeneration and budding are not same to each other. They are different from each other. They are different terms, different processes. Okay. Now we have completed with this part. Now we will solve some MCQs according to the CET exam. Now this is the first MCQ, that is, the number of nuclei present in zygote is. How many number of nuclei? Nuclei. It is the plural form of nucleus. How many nuclei are present in zygote? Can anyone answer me? How many nuclei are present in the zygote? Okay. This I have told you in the beginning slide only. Here, its answer will be here. See here, how many nuclei are there in the zygote? This is the zygote. And how many nuclei are there? Please tell me the answer for this. Here, it has, first of all, the nucleus from the sperm comes and the nucleus from the egg come. And here, both the pronucleus are present in one cell. Here, before formation of zygote, there are two nuclei in one cell. But after union of female and male pronucleus, the zygote is formed, and at the stage when zygote forms, the cell has only one nuclei. So, the answer will be 1. What will be the answer for this? 1. Because before formation of zygote, they have two nuclei. Male pronucleus plus female pronucleus. Okay, and here 4 and 8 is not the option for that. Actual, when the process of fertilization occurs, only 2 gametes are there. That means only 2 cells are there, and we all know that one cell has a one nucleus only. That's why 4 and 8 are not true options. They will not be there. 4 and 8. Only 1 and 2 you will get confused in 1 and 2. But here the real answer is 1. Only one nucleus is present in the zygote. Now, in the second question, gemule formation occurs in. Now, just now we have seen that Planaria and Hydra, okay, they are forming by the process of budding, or they are forming by the process of regeneration. All these things we have seen. They are not forming gemules. And in humans are, both of them are reproducing asexually, but they are not forming gemules. Asexual reproduction, they are showing asexual reproduction, but they are not forming gemules. And here in humans, they are showing sexual reproduction. And in sexual reproduction, gemule formation is not taking place. Here, Planaria and Hydra, both of them are reproducing asexually, but they are not forming gemule, but they are reproducing by the process of regeneration or budding. So, the right answer will be Spongilla. And just now we have seen this example of Spongilla. They are forming gemule. That means gemule formation occurs in Spongilla. Here I have told you why the specific answer is this and this only, and why other answers are not proper for this question. That reason also I have given you. Okay. And so now we will stop with this part. Today we have completed with reproduction, types of reproduction, sexual and asexual reproduction. After that, in asexual reproduction, we have seen two methods, gemule formation and budding. After that, we have seen amphimixism. After that, we have seen phases of reproduction. That is, there are 3 phases of reproduction. Which was the first phase? Juvenile phase, second was reproductive phase, and third was senescence phase. And we have seen breeders. Some are seasonal breeders, some are continuous breeders, and after that we have seen the process of regeneration in Hydra as well as in Planaria. So we will stop now with completion of these 2 MCQs, and we will meet in our next lecture. Up to that, take care of yourself and study hard. Bye.